The clock on the old church tower showed midnight as Newell walked down the empty streets of London's East End. The tall buildings around them seemed to sleep, just like the humans inside them. Newell looked like any other young person taking a late-night walk, but they were far from ordinary. Newell was not from Earth. They came from a distant planet where no one ever slept. Their real form was made of shifting blue light, but here on Earth, they wore human skin like a costume. Their job was to study how humans sleep and dream. The night was quiet except for the soft sound of Newell's footsteps on the old brick streets. They stopped near a streetlight and pulled out what looked like a normal phone. But this device could see things human tools could not. It showed colored lights floating above the buildings, the dreams of sleeping humans. Fascinating, Newell whispered, watching the dreams drift like gentle clouds. Each color meant something different. Blue dreams were calm and peaceful. Green ones showed adventures. Golden ones held happy memories. On their home planet, they had nothing like this. As they walked down Brick Lane, the smell of spices still hung in the air from the restaurants that had closed hours ago. Newell's sensors picked up stronger dream signals here than anywhere else they had visited on Earth. The old buildings seemed to hold memories in their walls. A cat watched Newell from a window ledge. Animals always knew Newell wasn't human, but they never seemed afraid. The cat's eyes glowed in the dark as it followed Newell's movement. "You keep their secrets too, don't you?" Newell said softly to the cat. The cat blinked slowly in response. The night grew colder and fog started to roll in from the river. Newell's readings showed something unusual. The fog carried traces of dreams in it. This was new. In all their research about Earth, they had never read about dream-carrying fog. Newell followed the fog down a narrow street. The old gas lamps cast warm circles of light through the mist. Their device started beeping softly. The dream traces were getting stronger. Then, through the fog, they saw a small shop with a soft golden light in its window. The sign above the door read Jai-Ho's Tea Shop, and surprisingly, it was still open. Newell could see someone moving inside. According to their research, most human shops closed hours ago, but the door was open, and warm light spilled out onto the foggy street. For a moment, Newell hesitated. Their orders were to observe only, not to interact. But something about this shop pulled at them. The dream signals coming from inside were unlike anything they had seen before. A bell tinkled softly as Newell pushed open the door. The shop was small but cozy, with shelves full of tea containers reaching to the ceiling. Behind the counter stood a person who looked human. But Newell's sensors suggested otherwise. The shop owner smiled warmly. "Welcome, traveler," the person said. "I'm Jai-Ho. You've come a very long way to study our dreams, haven't you?" Newell froze in surprise. No human had ever seen through their disguise before. But Jai-Ho just kept smiling and started preparing tea, as if having an alien visitor was the most normal thing in the world. "Sit," Jai-Ho said, pointing to a small table. "The night is young, and you have many questions. Dreams are more than what your instruments can measure." Newell sat down, realizing that their simple observation mission had just become much more interesting. The tea shop's warm light pushed back the fog outside, and somewhere in the distance, a clock struck one. Their first night of research in London's East End was turning out to be very different from what they had expected. Jai-Ho moved around the small tea shop with quiet grace, preparing tea in an old ceramic pot. The shelves around them held hundreds of tea containers, each one labeled with strange symbols that Newell's translation device could not read. "Your disguise is very good," Jai-Ho said, placing a cup of golden tea in front of Newell. "But you watch humans the way they watch stars, with wonder and many questions." Steam rose from the cup in shapes that looked almost like letters. Newell picked up the cup carefully. "How did you know what I am?" they asked. The tea smelled like sunshine and old books. Jai-Ho sat down across from them with their own cup. "This shop has been here for 300 years, they said. You are not the first visitor from the stars to come looking for answers about human dreams. The tea tasted like memories. Newell could see flashes of children playing in summer fields, of first kisses under autumn trees, of quiet winter mornings. These were not their memories. What is this tea? Dream tea, Jaiho said simply. Each cup holds the memories of one human night of sleep. This one came from a grandmother who dreamed of her childhood last week. Newell's scientific mind raced with questions. Their devices could measure dream energy, but they had never found a way to capture or store it. Yet here was Jaiho, serving dreams in teacups as if it was the most normal thing in the world. The dreams do not stay, Jaiho explained, seeing Newell's excitement. They fade like morning mist, but they help us understand. Outside, the fog pressed against the shop's windows. Newell noticed that the cat from earlier had followed them. It now sat in the window, watching them drink memories from teacups. Why do humans dream? Newell asked. It was the question that had brought them across the galaxy. No other species we have found does this. Jaiho smiled and poured more tea. This cup swirled with darker colors. Drink, they said. Some answers cannot be explained. They must be felt. The second cup tasted different. Newell saw flashes of deep space, of stars being born, of planets forming. These were not human dreams. They put the cup down with shaking hands. Those are your people's memories, Jaiho said quietly. From before you forgot how to dream. Newell stared at the cup. Their species had advanced technology and great knowledge, but they had no dreams, no sleep. They had always thought this made them superior. Now they wondered what they had lost. We have other visitors tonight, Jaiho said, looking at the door. The bell tinkled, and a young woman walked in. She looked human, but the air around her sparkled with dream energy that Newell's devices could barely measure. Good evening, Jaiho, she said. The dreams are very active tonight. She turned to Newell and smiled. I'm Yoonhee. I think we're going to be working together. Jaiho nodded. Yoonhee sees dreams without help, they explained to Newell. She knows their patterns better than any of our instruments. Newell looked at their sophisticated devices, then at the simple tea shop with its mysterious keeper and the woman who could see dreams with her own eyes. They realized that their research mission had just become much more complex and much more interesting. The cat jumped down from the window and rubbed against Yoonhee's legs. Outside, the dream-filled fog continued to roll through the streets of the East End, carrying the sleeping thoughts of London in its embrace. Yoonhee led Newell through the quiet streets of the East End. The fog had lifted, revealing a sky full of stars. To normalize, the streets were empty, but both of them could see the colored threads of dreams floating above the sleeping city. Each color tells a story, Yoonhee explained, pointing to a bright green strand that danced above them. Green is for growing things. Someone is dreaming about their garden. Newell watched in amazement as Yoonhee reached up and gently touched the green dream thread. The color spread across her fingers like watercolor paint. How long have you been able to see them? They asked. Since I was small, she said. At first, my parents thought I was making up stories. But Jaiho found me and explained what I could do. There are others like me in London. We watch over the dreams, make sure they stay safe. They walked down a narrow street where dream threads hung like colorful washing lines between the old buildings. Newell's devices hummed with readings, but they were starting to understand that machines couldn't tell the whole story. Why do dreams need protecting? Newell asked. They had never considered that dreams might be in danger. Yoonhee stopped walking and looked serious. Because dreams are powerful. They help humans process their days, heal their minds, and sometimes, she paused, sometimes they show the future. A group of red dream threads floated past them. Those are danger dreams, Yoonhee said. Someone is having a nightmare about a fire. We need to check this. She pulled out what looked like an ordinary phone and sent a quick message. Who are you messaging? Hey Newell asked. The fire department. We have friends there. They'll do an extra check of smoke alarms in this area tomorrow. Sometimes dreams warn us about real problems. They turned onto Brick Lane again. The streets here were full of blue and purple dreams, peaceful colors that made Hey Newell feel calm. Their own people never felt such peace. They were always awake, always thinking, always working. Look, He whispered, pointing to a golden dream thread that was starting to fade. That dream is ending. The person will wake up soon. As they watched, the golden thread slowly disappeared like morning mist. Somewhere, a person was opening their eyes, their dream becoming a fading memory. Newell took out their research device, but He gently pushed it down. Some things can't be measured, she said. They can only be remembered. They heard soft footsteps behind them. The cat from Jaiho's shop had followed them again, but now Hey Newell could see that dream threads clung to its fur like static electricity. The cats help us, He explained. They can walk through dreams without disturbing them. They're natural dream collectors. The cat purred and rubbed against their legs. Above them, the dream threads continued their gentle dance in the night air. Hey Newell thought about all the reports they had written about human sleep patterns. None of them had captured the real magic of dreams. Would you like to learn how to collect dreams? He asked. Not with your machines, but with your heart. Newell looked at their complex devices, then at the simple beauty of the dream threads above them. They had come to Earth to study dreams as a scientist, but perhaps there was more to learn as a student. Yes, they said. Please teach me. He smiled and held out her hand. Dream colors played across her skin like northern lights. Then let's begin, she said. The night is full of stories waiting to be found. The next evening, he took Hey Newell to Waikapul Road. The old buildings here stood tall and proud, their brick walls covered in colorful art. But Hey Newell noticed something strange about these paintings. They seemed to move in the corner of their eye. This is Do-hyun's work, he said, pointing to a large mural of flowing patterns. He paints what he sees in his sleep, though he doesn't know what they really are. Newell studied the mural carefully. The patterns matched exactly with the dream threads floating above the street. He can see dreams too. Not exactly, he explained. His hands remember what his mind sees while sleeping. Every painting he makes shows the dream patterns from that part of the city. They walked down the street, looking at more murals. Each one showed different patterns, some spiral, some straight, some like waves. Hey Newell's devices confirmed that these patterns matched the real dream flows perfectly. A young man was painting on a wall ahead of them. His movements were smooth and sure, as if he had practiced this pattern 1,000 times. This was Do-hyun, though he didn't know how special his art really was. Good evening, he called out. Do-hyun turned and smiled, paint spots on his face and hands. The mural behind him showed swirling blues and purples, exactly like the dream threads floating above them. Are you art lovers? Do-hyun asked, putting down his paintbrush. I keep painting these patterns. They come to me in my sleep. People say they're beautiful, but I don't know why I make them. Newell looked at their research device, then at the mural. They're more than beautiful, they said. They're true. Do-hyun laughed softly. True. They're just patterns from dreams. He didn't realize how right he was. He touched the wall gently. The paint was still wet, and dream threads seemed to reach out to her fingers. This area has the strongest dream patterns in London, she told Hey Newell. The old buildings remember everything. Hey Newell's devices started beeping. The dream energy here was stronger than anything they had measured before. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with memories. The East End has seen so much, He continued. Joy, sadness, love, fear, all those feelings leave marks. The dreams here are deep and old. Do-hyun had started painting again, his hands moving in perfect sync with the dream flows above. He was a human antenna, receiving and recording the dream patterns without knowing it. "Look at this," Newell said, showing Yoon-hee their device screen. "The dream patterns make a map. Every street, every building has its own dream signature, and his paintings show them all." Yoon-hee nodded. "That's why we protect him. Do-hyun is making a record of London's dreams, even if he doesn't know it. His art will help future dream collectors find their way." As the evening grew darker, more dream threads appeared. They wove through Do-hyun's murals like threads through a tapestry. The walls of Waitekable had become a dream library, storing patterns that had floated through these streets for centuries. Newell realized that their research notes would need many changes. They had come looking for simple sleep patterns, but they had found an entire hidden language written on city walls. The East End wasn't just storing dreams, it was telling their story. The night market in the East End glowed with warm lights as Newell and Yoon-hee walked between the stalls. The air smelled of spices and sweet treats. People moved through the market, buying everything from old books to strange-looking plants. "Look carefully," Yoon-hee whispered to Newell. "Not everything is what it seems." Newell observed the vendors more closely. Their devices started picking up unusual signals. These weren't ordinary market stalls. Each one was releasing soft waves of energy that made people feel sleepy and peaceful. An elderly woman called out to them from her stall. "Would you like to try some dream tea?" she asked. Her smile was kind, but Newell's sensors showed she wasn't human. This was Sangma, though her name badge showed a different name. "Welcome, Star Traveler," Sangma said quietly when they reached her stall. "We've been expecting you." Her tea sets looked ordinary, but they sparkled with the same energy Newell had seen at Jaeho's shop. "There are more of us?" Newell asked, looking around at the other vendors. Sangma nodded. "We came here long ago, when humans first started building cities. Their dreams were so strong, so beautiful, but others wanted to take that power." She led them behind her stall, through a hidden door in what looked like a solid wall. Inside was a large room where several vendors were meeting. None of them looked quite human anymore. "We are the Market Guild," Sangma explained. "Every item we sell helps humans sleep better and dream more clearly. The teacups hold ancient star songs. The blankets are woven with peace spells. The dream catchers really do catch dreams." Newell touched one of the dream catchers. It hummed with energy. "But why? Why protect human dreams?" A tall vendor stepped forward, his form shifting between human and starlight. "Because human dreams keep the galaxy in balance," he said. "Their dreams create energy that prevents stars from dying too soon. Without Earth's dreamers, the universe would grow dark. We discovered this by accident," Sangma continued. "A ship of dream hunters tried to steal human dreams once. That whole sector of space began to fade. We stopped them, and now we protect this place." Yoon-hee picked up a small stone from a table. It glowed softly in her hand. "Everything in the market has two purposes," she said. "It helps humans, and it guards them." Newell looked at their research notes with new understanding. They had come to study sleep patterns, but they had found something much bigger. Earth wasn't just a planet with an interesting species. It was the heart of something vast and important. "Will you join us?" Sangma asked. "We need more watchers, more protectors. Your people's technology could help us greatly." Before Newell could answer, alarms started ringing from the dream catchers. The dream patterns above the market had turned dark red. "Something's wrong," Yoon-hee said, looking worried. "The dreams are scared." Sangma moved quickly to a large map on the wall. It showed London covered in light points, but many were turning red. "Someone is trying to enter the dream space," she said. "We must protect the dreamers." Newell looked at their devices, then at the worried faces around them. They had come to Earth as a scientist. Now they had to decide if they would become a guardian too. The red warning lights from the dream catchers filled the night market's hidden room. Sangmi turned to Newell and Yoon-hee with determination in her eyes. "We must go to the river," she said. The Thames knows how to protect the dreams. They rushed through the dark streets toward the riverbank. The dream threads above them had turned dark and twisted, showing the fear spreading through London's sleeping minds. Haynewell's devices beeped with warning signals they had never recorded before. At the river's edge, they met Minho, a boat operator who stood calmly watching the water. Like the market vendors, he wasn't quite what he seemed. The air around him rippled like water even when he stood still. "The river remembers," Minho said as they approached. He didn't seem surprised to see them. "It has been keeping dreams safe since the first humans slept beside it." Minho's boat looked ordinary, but Haynewell's sensors showed it was made of the same energy as dream threads. "Get in," he said. "The river will show us where the trouble is." As they moved across the dark water, Minho explained how the Thames helped protect London's dreams. "Water remembers everything," he said. "The river holds the oldest dreams of the city. When danger comes, it knows what to do." Haynewell watched in amazement as gentle waves of blue light moved under the water's surface. Their devices showed these were actually dream patterns, flowing through the river like currents. "Listen, Yoon," he said suddenly. A soft humming sound came from the water. It wasn't quite music, but it made everyone feel peaceful. "The river is singing its lullaby." Minho nodded. "The Thames lullaby is ancient magic. It keeps the dreams calm and safe. But tonight, something is trying to stop the song." They moved deeper into the heart of London. The buildings on both sides of the river glowed with dream energy that flowed down into the water. Haynewell realized that the entire city was connected through these dream rivers. "There," Sang-mi pointed to a dark spot ahead where the river's blue light disappeared. "Someone is trying to block the dream flow." Minho steered the boat closer. They could see a strange shadow hovering over the water, absorbing the dream energy. Haynewell's devices showed it was some kind of machine, but not from Earth or any world they knew. "It's a dream harvester," Sang-mi said grimly. "The dream hunters have returned." The machine hummed with dark energy, pulling dreams from the sleeping city into itself. But as they watched, something wonderful happened. The river began to glow brighter. The Thames lullaby grew stronger, its gentle song pushing back against the machine's power. "The river is protecting its dreamers," Minho said with pride. "Now we must help it." He pulled out what looked like an ordinary flute but glowed with starlight. "Each of us has a part to play in the river's song," he said, offering the flute to Haynewell. "Will you help us keep the dreams safe?" Haynewell looked at their research devices, then at the glowing flute. The scientist in them wanted to study and measure everything. But sometimes, they realized, you had to stop measuring and start believing. They took the flute as the Thames continued its ancient song beneath them. Haynewell lifted the starlight flute to their lips. They had never played music before, but somehow their hands knew what to do. A soft, clear note joined the Thames lullaby, making the river glow brighter. Yoon-hee and Sang-mi began to sing, their voices mixing with the river's song. Minho guided the boat in slow circles around the dream harvester. The dark machine's humming grew weaker as the music grew stronger. "The dream hunters forgot something important," Minho said as he steered. "Dreams cannot be taken by force. They must be given freely." The river's blue light spread across the water, pushing back the darkness. Haynewell could see dream threads breaking free from the harvester, returning to the sleeping city above. Their research devices showed the dream patterns returning to normal. Suddenly, the night market vendors appeared on other boats, surrounding the harvester. Each one carried a different instrument made of starlight. Together, they played an ancient song that made the river dance with light. "We are the Dawn Guardians," Sang-mi explained to Haynewell. "We protect the space between night and morning, when dreams are most vulnerable. For centuries, we have kept this watch." A harvester made a harsh sound and tried to pull in more dreams, but the combined power of the river's song and the Guardian's music was too strong. With a final mechanical screech, the machine broke apart and sank into the Thames. "The river will keep it safe," Minho said. "Its parts will become smooth stones that help carry dreams downstream." As the danger passed, Haenul saw something amazing. The dream threads above London had formed a pattern exactly like Do Hyun's murals. The young artist had been painting this moment without knowing it. "Now you understand why we need you," Sangmai said to Haenul. "Your people's knowledge of space and science, combined with our ancient ways of protecting dreams, could make Earth even safer." Jaiho appeared on the riverbank, holding cups of glowing tea. The cat from the shop sat beside them, its fur shimmering with dream colors. "The tea shop has been waiting 300 years for this night," they said. Haenul looked at their devices one last time. The scientific readings showed something impossible. The dream energy from London was helping to keep nearby stars bright and healthy. The dreams really were important to the whole galaxy. "There will be more dream hunters," Yoonhee said. "They don't understand that taking dreams by force hurts everyone. We need people who can explain the science of dreams to them." The sky was beginning to brighten. The time between night and dawn was ending, and the dream threads were growing fainter. But Haenul could still see them clearly now, even without their devices. "Will you join us?" Jaiho asked, offering Haenul a cup of tea that glowed like starlight. "Will you help us keep the balance between science and dreams?" The river sang its gentle song below them. Above, the last stars of night twinkled like distant memories. Haenul realized they had found something more valuable than research data. They had found a purpose. The first rays of sunlight touched the towers of Canary Wharf as Haenul made their decision. They lifted the cup of starlight tea to their lips and drank deeply. In that moment, they saw the truth of everything, past, present, and future flowing together like the river below them. "I will stay," Haenul said. "I will help protect the dreams." Jaiho smiled and pulled an old book from their coat. Its pages glowed softly like the dream threads above. "Then it is time for you to sign the Guardian's book. Every protector of dreams has written their name here since London was young." Haenul opened the book carefully. Names in 1,000 different languages filled its pages. Some were written in starlight, others in flowing water, and some in languages no human had ever seen. At the bottom of the newest page, they wrote their true name in the light of their home star. "Now you are one of us," Sangmai said warmly. "A bridge between science and dreams." The morning sun grew stronger, and something remarkable happened. Instead of disappearing completely, the dream threads began to change. They became thin lines of golden light that connected everything: buildings, trees, people, and even the air itself. "The dreams don't end when people wake up," Yoonhee explained. "They become part of the day. Every smile, every kind word, every moment of peace, these are dreams touching the waking world." Haenul watched as early morning workers crossed London Bridge. Each person carried a faint trace of their night's dreams, visible now to Haenul's new understanding. These dreams helped shape their days, their choices, their hopes. At his usual wall, Do Hyun was finishing his latest mural. The pattern showed golden lines connecting stars to the river, exactly like the morning light Haenul could now see. Without knowing it, he had painted the truth once again. "Your research mission is not over," Minho said, standing at the river's edge. "But now you will study dreams not just to understand them, but to protect them." Haenul looked at their devices, then carefully packed them away. They would still use science, but they had learned that some things could only be understood with the heart. The cat from Jaiho's shop appeared one last time, carrying something in its mouth. It was a small key made of the same material as the starlight flute. The key would open doors between dreams when needed, letting the guardians travel wherever they were needed most. "The morning brings changes," Jaiho said, preparing one final cup of tea in their shop. "But change helps dreams grow stronger. Your people forgot how to dream long ago. Perhaps through you, they can remember." Outside, London was waking up. The dream threads had become morning light, but Hay Newell could still feel them humming in the air. Their new life was beginning. Part scientist, part guardian, part dreamkeeper. The Thames continued its gentle song, carrying dreams safely through the heart of the city. Above, the last stars faded into the morning sky, but Hay Newell knew they would shine brighter now, fed by the dreams of sleeping humans. Everything they had learned would go into a very different report than the one they had planned to write. This would be a story about how dreams hold the universe together, and how a city at night holds more magic than anyone could imagine. "Welcome home, Yoon," he said softly, as the sun rose fully over London's East End. "The dreams have been waiting for you."